weaker African nations and older African cultures. And the people had to disperse and start new ones. And therefore, they are not full and complete as they once were. They have lost a lot of their old ways, and they have become corrupted. Now, what do I mean by corrupted? What I mean by corrupted, what corrupted means is that in the passage of space and time, they have lost their original way of life, or much of their original way of life. They have lost much of their understanding of their ancient cultural thought and cultural patterns. And because of that, we need to look beyond modern day African nations and look for something where the corruption is not there. Also, this is one of the main reasons why Africa is the way it is today, because much of what we think of our African worldview and our African way of life has actually been lost and really no longer exists. So we need to find something in Africa that represents the commonality of all Africa, something where the corruption doesn't exist at the level that it exists in our modern-day African nations. And Kemet is the one place that offers the best source and the most data where we can actually go and research and study Africa as it was in a purer form, in a healthier day of growth and development. And we have a way of doing that, and the way we have of doing that is through the study of Medu Neter. Medu Neter is the language of Kemet, and I'm going to talk a little later on about Medu Neter. But Medu Neter is a writing, or it's the language of the people of Kemet. It's an African language, and in the language of Medu Neter, what we have are thousands, literally thousands of books that are written on every subject imaginable. We have books that are written on the history of Kemet, the history of Kemet written by the African people themselves. We have books on medicine, lots of medical papyri talking about all kinds of medical practices, internal and external medicine and herbology, etc. We have books on all of the sciences, all of the forms of mathematics, and all of the books on astronomy. The Kemites had recognized and named all of the planets and all of the stars, and they had studied the skies extensively. We have books of poetry and literature and drama. We have books on every subject that you would have today. We have biographies and autobiographies written by people which tell us how the people lived, what their life was like, what their worldview was. We have accounts, and I could go on and on with this for hours, so I'll stop there on that. But I think you get a picture that we have much written in Kemet, much written data on which we can rely on for our understanding of an ancient, uncorrupted African civilization written by African people themselves. And not only that, they left for us instructions. First of all, instructions to read the text. They left instructions for posterity. They even described the white man, and they described who he was, where he came from, and they even left predictions for us about our future and the future of the world. So much is there in Kemet, written in Medu Neter for us to learn. And that is why Kemet is so important and talked about so much today among people. Let me talk, before I begin talking about Medu Neter specifically, let me talk for a moment about some of the things that over my many years of study of Medu Neter and Kemet, I have discovered in the text. And the things that I want to mention tonight are the things that I feel can help us to move into the 21st century, can help us to develop that African world view that we seek to develop, and that can help us to establish those principles and values that we need so much. Some of these are, and I'm going